guys, welcome to the last episode of this season. I'm super excited about this one. It's me, Njeri Kamau, if you do not know. Uh, in this episode, I'm reading a letter to myself. It's a letter that I wrote some time back when I realized some of the things that had changed in my life, when I realized the growth that maybe I had experienced or maybe that I think I have experienced. So it's just a letter to me, to myself, and I know a few years from now I'll maybe sit down and listen to it. Maybe my kids will also listen to it. But I'm here to read it to myself, and to affirm myself that I'm doing quite a good job. As I said, affirmations must be intrinsic. That's rule number one, because for anything to work, it has to start within. So I'm just going to read it as it is. I wrote this letter to as I reflected on the whole of episode two, not episode two, sorry, on the whole of season two, as I reflected on it, the highs, the lows, the ups, the downs. That's when I wrote this letter, and I'm super excited about it. So dear Yvonne, this is a letter to you, and I hope by the time you listen to it, you will have grown much more. You will have grown much more, and you'll have even become a better version of yourself. And I hope by the time you listen to it again, maybe in a couple of years, you will be a great motivational speaker. Yeah. So I will read it as it is. So it's a letter to me and maybe to every other person that maybe you need a tap in the shoulder. So here it is for us. So dear Yvonne, as I sit down to reflect on this season, on all the moments of growth, pain, and release, I feel an overwhelming sense of gratitude. It's hard to believe how much has shifted, how much I have learned, how much I have grown since we began this journey. This season was never going to be easy, but the transformation has been so worth it. And I want to remind myself of just how much strength I have discovered along the way. At the start, I was weighed down by shame, and it felt like a constant companion, making me feel unworthy and broken. I let it dictate how I viewed myself and my choices and my past. But somewhere along this journey, I realized that shame doesn't define who I am, and I finally allowed myself to release it. It no longer controls my thoughts or the way I show up in the world. I have learned that my worth is not determined by my past, mistakes, or flaws, but by who I choose to be today. Letting go of that shame wasn't just freeing, it was transformative. There was also guilt, a constant whisper that I wasn't doing enough, that I needed to do more for others and less for myself. For a long time, I believed that my value came from how much I could give to others, even at the expense of my own self. But as this season unfolded, I realized how untrue that was. I have learned that I am allowed to choose myself without feeling guilty for it. I can love others, support them, and be there for them. But I also worth of care, attention, and love from myself. I have learned that putting myself first doesn't make me selfish, it makes me whole. And without that wholeness, I can't show up for anyone else in a meaningful way. Forgiveness, self forgiveness was the hardest part of this journey. I've been so hard on myself for all the things I have done or failed to do, the moments when I didn't prioritize my own needs or set boundaries. But now I see that self forgiveness is a gift, not a weakness. I have given myself the permission to move forward without the heavy burden of guilty holding me back. It's not that I have forgotten the past, but I have made peace with it. I've come to understand that I can learn from my mistakes, grow from them, and then let them go. And by doing that, I've created the space for the future that I want. Letting go has been a painful process at times, but it has also been the most necessary. I have had to let go of old habits that kept me stuck, old relationships that drained me, and old ways of thinking that limited my growth. It hasn't been easy, but every time I let go of something that no longer serves me, I create space for something new, something that aligns with who I am becoming. The process of letting go hasn't been without its own struggles, but with each step, I feel more free, and the freedom feels like the ultimate reward. This season, I also realized something important about growth. It isn't always pretty. There were times I wanted to give up, times when the cost felt too high, when it felt like I was losing pieces of myself. But as I reflect now, I see that becoming is not about staying the same. It's about shedding the old, embracing the new, and stepping into the next version of who I want to be. I've become more comfortable with discomfort because it means I'm growing, and even when the cost feels steep, the rewards are undeniable. Choosing myself hasn't been simple or easy task. For so long, I was taught that my worth came from giving to others than putting myself last. But the truth is, choosing myself is the most loving thing I can do, not just for me, but for the people I care about. By choosing to show up for myself, I have learned to stay healthy, to set healthy boundaries, to honor my needs, and to give myself the grace to rest when I need to. I no longer carry the guilt that once followed me every time I took time for myself. I am learning to honor my own journey and to trust that it's okay to let go of the guilt and shame that held me back for so long. Yvonne, this letter is for you to remember how far you've come. You faced the hardest parts of life and emerged stronger, more confident and more at peace. You've let go of shame and guilt, and in doing so, you've freed yourself to live the life you deserve. You've allowed yourself to evolve, to embrace your imperfections, and to choose yourself over and over again. You've given yourself permission to let go of what no longer serves you, and in doing so, you've created space for healing, growth, and authenticity. You're allowed to love yourself fully, to forgive yourself completely, and to work forward with your head held high. You're not the same person who started this season. You've learned to to choose yourself, to grow with grace, and to embrace every part of that journey. I'm so proud of you, Yvonne. Keep moving forward, keep choosing yourself, keep embracing the beautiful, messy, and transformative process of growth. You're becoming exactly who you are always meant to be, and the best is yet to come. I love you so much, Yvonne, and even as you look forward to a greater and a beautiful future, I know that you can only become the best. I know that you're full of potential and you deserve everything good that is coming your way. You deserve every good friendship that you have, and you deserve every love that you're going to receive. It can only get better. You're beautiful, you're loved, and you're enough. Until next time, I love you, and I hope to see you as a successful, beautiful, and vibrant young woman.